Uber Technologies Inc. earnings review, financial statements, and stock analysis. You must have heard that Uber recently announced its earnings outcomes. They did so yesterday, the 7th of August 2020, after the market closed. And the folks at Schaeffer Investment Research wrote this piece. So we're just going to cover it before we go ahead and look at what the outcomes were. And the author of this piece began to indicate that the shares of Uber were down 5.3% at $32.88, following the firm's second quarter financial results. Uber reported a $1.8 billion net loss from June through April, which included layoff charges as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The platform's usership also dropped from 99 million to 55 million globally, though revenue at its food delivery offshoot Uber Eats doubled to $1.2 billion. Uber's earnings event is causing some excitement in its options pit. So far, as of yesterday, the 7th of August 2020, 84,000 calls crossed the tape as opposed to 70,000 puts, 4 times the total intraday average. The weekly 7th of August 33 strike put, which expired later that day, was the most popular, while positions were being opened at the weekly 14th of August 33 strike as well, put strike as well. Calls have been the preference of the past couple months. In fact, at the ISE, CBOE, and NASDAQ, OMX, PHLX, 2.49 calls were picked up for every put during the past 10 weeks. This ratio sits higher than 78% of all their annual readings, suggesting healthier than usual appetite for these bullish bets of late. Okay, it should be noted that yesterday the announcement did draw out at least, sorry about that, 6 price target hikes, the highest coming from RBC to $50 from $45, while 2 other analysts slashed their earnings estimates, slashed their estimates, despite Uber's 23.7% year-over-year deficit. Most of the brokerage bunch is surprisingly optimistic toward the stock, with 23 of the 26 in coverage giving it a buy or better review, with not a single sell to be seen. Plus, the 12-month consensus price target of $41.36 is a steep 26.3% premium to current levels, marking a region Uber hasn't reached since May 2019. Okay, so that brings us to the summary page that is here on Charles Schwab. It has a market cap of $57.4 billion, and you can see the comparison here. It has been performing badly. For the year, it's down to the 3.43%. For the last 6 months, 19.03%. For this month is 0.72%. And S&P Industrials, all these other ones have been doing better. So with this short ratio here says this short interest here says 3%, 3.1%, but on short squeeze, which is I think is more reliable, they're saying it is 6.06%. It's going to take 2 days to cover, and the increase was 2%. That's at probably yesterday, the 7th of August 2020. Okay, so and that this is it. This is the disclosure, and then this link brings us to here, and you can see this the Form 10 disclosure, the file that was filed yesterday, and it's now public. So we're going to begin with the consolidated balance sheet. Okay, it says condensed consolidated balance sheets in millions, except amounts which are reflected in except share amounts which are reflected in thousands and per share amounts. So assets, this asset as of June 30th, 2020, it was $6.7 billion. Assets, 6.7 billion. Okay, and then total assets was 28.24 billion. $28.24 billion. And then accumulated deficit is $21.07 billion. Accumulated deficit was or is $21.07 billion. And the total liabilities, mezzanine and equity, $28.24. Total liabilities, mezzanine, equity, and equity is $28.24 billion. Okay, let's go back to the top again and see, pick up another statement to look at. And okay, consolidate statements for operations. So this is the one. 3 months ended June 30th. Cost and expenses, revenue was 2.2 billion dollars. $2.2 billion. Then what do we have here? We have loss from operation is $1.6 billion. 1.61. So loss before net loss including non-controlling interests. It's $1.77 billion. Okay, let's go back again and see the cash flow statement. So bad debt expense, $32 million, and gain on business divestiture. There was a loss of $127 million. Net cash used in operating activities. Okay, we're lost. Let's go back to it again. Net cash used in operating activities. Okay, so they obviously are not making as much money, so that's why you have this shortfall, $1.534 billion. Purchase of marketable securities, $1 billion. Purchase of property, $36 billion. Net cash provided by or used in investing activities, $2.3 billion. So net decrease in cash and cash equivalents and restricted cash and cash equivalents was $3.9 billion. Negative. So that was 3.9 or we'll call it $4 billion. $4 billion negative. Okay, so we're going to include this link for you to read up on the statement yourself, and that brings us to the chart, so you can see what's going on here. So as at when was that? As at you can see the date at the bottom of the screen here. That's the date here. That's the date here. So as at the 4th of May 2020, the share price began to indicate its interest with a particular trend line, which is the 50-day simple moving average. So that of recent, that was the first time, sometime over there, but we don't. This chart doesn't include that. But it began to indicate a stronger interest in that, or rather, also became a source of support from 4th of May, and on that particular day, it closed slightly below it. And then on the 11th of June, that's trend line offered some support. And also yesterday again, when the market closed, it reoccurred. It became another source of support. But during that time as well, it has continued to fall and surpass and fall and surpass, and and you can also see from the 11th of June, it has been moving sideways, and as such, it may have led to this trend line, which is not as short term as the 20-day, which is this one. This is the 20-day. This red one here, this one here. It has now become a relevant trend line, because it is the one that is now closely matching the share price, and which may be as a result of the sideways movement, and that has been the bane of Uber's share price, and it's been going up and down, and surpassing, or rather probably competing with that trend line, sometimes offering support, sometimes breaching it. And so this was in May. So even though we can see this trending, this upward momentum here, which the 20-day traced quite well, and indeed the 50-day traced it quite well. And the reason why it probably traced it but wasn't coming close was because it was trending. So since it's trending, and it's an average of 50 days. It has many more days that are not of higher value, so it will always trend below. But this is a 20-day simple moving average. It's a data set that is much narrower than this. As such, it will trend like this. But so you can now see that for this 50-day to now be a source of support for Uber, for the share price, even better than the 20-day. So 20-day simple moving average is just an indication that it has not been trending. It's been consolidating. So you can even see that here. You can see when was this? When did this MACD? See, 23rd of June. That was when it came turned into the negative territory. It was just of late that it slightly turned positive. The 6th, So and you can see the RSI all within the neutral. All showing just modest volume outcomes. Okay, So this is pretty much our coverage of Uber. We don't have the outcomes are not so as the particular earnings outcomes are not as detailed, but the financial the 10Q statements you're going to see in the description box below will provide you all the information you need to decide whether Uber is where you're going to put your money or not. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. Don't fail to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell as well once you do so. Thank you.